Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls, One Doc.
One Doc.
It's your girl, BG.
It's Foreign's the fiance.
And we are back.
We're back.
With another
Very
episode.
tired.
Mate, it is kind of early. I mean, not early for me, but early for the average person.
I literally just rolled out of bed.
I have been up for hours.
Really?
I have gone to the post office to do my returns and pick up my packages, and I'm here, but I'm so tired. I'll have a nap after this.
Yeah, I went to bed at 2:30.
Oh yeah, how was yesterday?
It was really good. Yeah, we watched.
We went to see Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying that it's good.
Yeah, it is, but it's just I'm so disconnected from the Marvel universe. I just watch their movies for vibes. I don't know what timeline they're in. I don't know who is what. Sometimes they
what
make
is the cinematic universe? Who is
what
where?
What is going on, fam? It's just vibes. I just watch it because it's an enjoyable movie. I know the movie will be good, but I actually don't know what the fuck is going on. I only realized yesterday that X-Men was part of the Marvel verse. It's weird. And because I remember having this conversation with someone. I was like, if X-Men. No, I must have known before because I remember asking someone if X-Men is part of the Marvel verse, why do they never why weren't they part of the Avengers and stuff? And then they were like to me because they exist in a different multiverse. The multiverse they exist in is not the same one as the other ones. So it's just it's fucking strange. But you know what? It just shows you the brilliance of whoever wrote these novels or these comics, their mind, because even it's the same with Harry Potter. They've created a whole world
yeah.
And people have their backstories and everything. It's crazy. Is it Spike Lee? Is it Spike Lee or what's the name of the guy? Mark Lee?
Stan Lee. That much I know.
Okay. There's no prize though.
I was going to watch it, but then I was like, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to understand it. So what's the point? Wasting someone's time.
No, you should still get it. You should still watch it because it's a good movie. But maybe I'd say watch the first Doctor Strange movie.
And so this is the thing. Now I'm doing homework when all I want to do is just go to the cinema. You see, it's too much.
Okay, don't watch.
So today we are covering a documentary that can be found on BBC iPlayer. It is called John. No, it's not John. It's not even John. It's Ron. Ron Jeremy. Looking for my journey. Ron Jeremy, Fall of a Porn Icon. And right off the bat, I'm going to say trigger warning for rape, sexual assault, and all those kinds of bad things.
Man. He is a trigger warning on his own.
Yeah,
everything about him makes me feel sick.
Yeah, it's actually quite disgusting. Yeah, him. Yeah, okay, we'll get into it all. So the documentary opens up with someone called Ginger Banks. She has been in.
I said Banks.
Ginger Banks. She's been in the sex work industry for 12 years. So she tells us she's done 10 porn scenes on professional sets, but over 200 scenes on her own. And she also shows us her plaque for reaching 100,000 subscribers on Pornhub. And say what you want about sex workers, yeah, I feel like that is an achievement. At first I thought it was YouTube. It was a YouTube plaque. I said, oh, wow, mads. But then obviously it wasn't. It was for Pornhub, which makes a lot more sense. She shows us 2 awards that she's won. One is for Best Sex Scene, and one is for the Community Advocate Award, which I think are... it just shows that she has range.
Yeah. No, but sorry to interject here. I just find it wild that people subscribe to
Mate.
And
that's what I'm saying. To have 100,000 people subscribe to you on Pornhub, that is an achievement.
Do you know what it means to subscribe?
Imagine how many people are watching her.
Fam, do you know what it means to subscribe? You're getting notifications every time they drop a new video. It's not like YouTube where it's you'll talk about makeup or hair or whatever guys want to watch on YouTube. Yeah, misogynistic bullshit. But every time this girl drops a video that
you're ready. You're gonna go cock in hand.
Are you cocking? Literally, are you permanently cock in hand? What? Or do you just put it in your faves and you go?
Maybe they put it in their faves and then they save it for later. Because on YouTube you have the watch later feature, so maybe they just watch for later and then
Nah, I'm sorry. Pornhub, you go in, do your business, leave. All this subscribe, pay, this and
I didn't realize you could actually subscribe on porn sites. I didn't realize it was a subscribe thing.
Yeah, some people have.
So what does that mean? You pay
everything? Yeah.
Wow.
And then also on top of that, did you see all these tweets about these guys that went to the porn convention?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Guys, the guys look exactly like what you'd expect. Like,
of course.
Imagine the guy you'd expect to go to a porn convention.
But this is the thing. It's like there's bless you. They look exactly like the kind of guys who would go to a porn convention, but there are probably so many more guys and more like quote unquote normal looking guys who also watch the thingy. They maybe just don't want to go.
It's a whole different level to go to a convention.
That's what I'm saying. They have the wherewithal to not then go to a porn convention.
That's fucking crazy. Like, it's so wild.
It's really a convention for anything. And literally, a convention is just, hey, we all like this one thing. Let's all meet up together in public and celebrate that. Wow. I mean,
you should have a convention for me.
You speak to your followers. So she tells us that she meets this guy, Ron Jeremy, at the AVN Awards. And he walked past her and put his hands on her ass in her jeans. So I was trying to like visualize, because she says in her jeans, which means that inside of her jeans is where he put his hand, which is,
but jeans are like
regardless, is wild behavior.
Tight. Jeans are usually so tight, right? Like, even if they're like boot cut, they're tight. So
this is what I'm saying.
It's a whole process to put your hands in someone's jeans.
How did you do that?
Under
you tried.
Her skirt or something. Like, you had to
You tried. Yeah. This is why it's just the visual. I was like, wow. So you were really adamant that you were gonna violate her. So she tells her friends, and they're like, oh yeah, like that's just what he does, that's the way he is. Yeah, so this is common knowledge, not even really an open secret, because it's not even a secret, it's just open. So Ginger is like, this is weird, and she starts looking at footage of him online, and she finds like a bunch of videos. He's touching women inappropriately, or he's making them touch him inappropriately, and they show us all this footage that she finds. So Ginger says, like, it's not clear how the women in the videos feel about it. Like, some of them may be okay with it, it may be consensual, but also it may not be. And I think it's important to mention that sometimes, like, just because you see a woman react a certain way, or someone react a certain way after being violated, like maybe they chuckle or they laugh or they whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're okay with it. It might just be like a nervous response, or they don't want to like bug out or whatever. So Ginger makes that point. She's like, look, we don't know if I'm sure some might be consensual, but also some may not be, and for those that are not, it's not okay, right? So one of Ginger's friends tweeted that Ron Jeremy had penetrated her with his fingers without her consent, right? And so loads of women come forward then with their own stories, and we see loads of screenshots of these tweets, and they go through them kind of quickly, but don't worry, I paused it so I could read them all out to you. So one tweet says, he locked me in a bathroom and whipped his dick out, and then in capital letters, and blocked the door, and we're back to normal lowercase. I flipped out and somehow got out. The next tweet says, icky, he ruined my selfie by shoving his hands down the neck of my t-shirt, totally stretched out the shirt and wrecked it too. Creep. Now, I agree with sis, because it's like, right, okay, one, you violated me, and now my top is ruined.
It's ruined.
It's very ridiculous.
And that top might be discontinued, so I cannot buy it again.
This is what I'm saying. Very ridiculous. There's two, violated me on two fronts. Next tweet says, at my first and only Exotica, which I assume is like a convention, he groped my breasts when I asked him for a picture. I wasn't the only one either. Wild.
The thing is though, like, obviously there's no guy that, like, unless it's your partner and you guys have that set up, being locked in a bathroom and a guy whips out his dick is fucking frightening, right? But it's like 100 times more frightening when it's this guy, because everything about him is gross. Like, he looks permanently sweaty.
Yeah,
like damp,
like Prince Andrew vibes.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't sweat. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but he looks, that nigga sweats, no, and he looks like it.
No, but what are you talking about? He has a condition where he's told us.
Oh my god!
PD,
I'm so sorry. My bad. It must be the other Prince Andrew that I'm thinking of.
Come on, like,
come on.
Everything they say is true.
He cannot sweat.
He cannot.
He's unable to sweat.
He is unable. He doesn't have the gland.
He's a sweaty nigga though.
There's no gland reaction. But yeah, no, this guy's gross. Like,
he is. There's one more tweet, and it says, there was a year at AVN, which is that same porn convention Ginger Banks was at, where he gave at least 5 women a yeast infection by surprise fingering them one after another during photos.
What the fuck?
Now, I mean, okay, maybe they cannot prove that the yeast infections were directly linked to the assault, but in any case, yeast infection aside, the surprise fingering, I think, is wild. And then one after another, it's just do you know what, the one after the other isn't wild.
Sanitized his hands
because if it were consensual and you all wanted to be fingered one after the other, then who am I to judge? But the fact that you're saying surprise, how you surprise finger someone, that is assault. No or no?
No, of course it is. But like, I just hope I hope he sanitized his hands in between.
Of course he didn't.
But
look at him. Does he look like he sanitizes?
But two, it's such a, like, again, fingering, like, it's not like women are just, maybe there was something where they all had their legs open. I don't know. I have never been to a porn.
Yeah, like how, like,
but
it's
like,
not an
how
easy
did that
thing.
happen? Like, when I walk, my legs are closed and I'm standing.
Yeah, if I'm standing, my legs,
yeah, like,
this is what I'm saying. It's not an easy feat. You don't just accidentally finger someone. It doesn't accidentally happen.
Right.
That's not.
So yeah, we need backstory. I'm not saying, obviously I believe the women. I'm just saying that this man set out to be like fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. So this is what sparks Ginger's passion to call out Ron, because she's like, this is disgusting, and it's not just me, like there are other people that this has happened to. So Ginger makes YouTube videos in 2017 and she lays out all the facts. She also makes a good point.
There have been allegations of rape and sexual assault against Ron Jeremy that go back as far as August 2003. How does Ron Jeremy, just being a porn star, give him the right to assault these females?
Now, Ginger says females, okay? And Ginger should have said women. And you know how we feel about the distinction between females and women. There's a whole episode where we talk about it, the Inside the Secret Lives of Incels, or whatever episode that was. We really go into it there. So if you're unsure, listen to that episode. But Ginger, I'm gonna move on from that at this moment because we have bigger fish to fry here. Okay. The YouTube comments say exactly what you'd expect them to say. They're things like, oh, who cares? Like, what do you expect? Like, they're liars, they're gold diggers. And when people say they're gold diggers, I'm like, and so how are they making money from this? How? People are like, oh, why don't they go to the police? Like, you know, porn's not a credible industry, so like technically, blah blah
but
blah.
You watch it.
It's like,
no.
These are comments on the YouTube video, so there may not be people.
But whoever's commenting on these videos probably watches porn.
Maybe, but the thing is that even if they don't, even if they are, I was gonna say Queen Mary, if they are Angel Gabriel or whatever, yeah, even if they don't watch porn, yeah, that doesn't matter, because just because somebody does sex work as their profession, that doesn't mean that they deserve to be sexually assaulted. It doesn't mean they're asking for it. It's the same. Yeah. It's the same thinking as like, oh, well, what was she wearing when she was assaulted? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you ran down the street naked, ass in the air. Yeah, that doesn't give anybody a right to assault you. It doesn't, because consent wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? And that's what made it assault. Yeah. So you just get dumb comments. You get loads of hateful comments, but the video actually does something good in that it leads to more women coming forwards about their own experiences, and we meet some of them during this documentary. So the first one we meet is called Tana Leah. And I don't think she means to do this when she says this, but she perfectly articulates why people don't come forward after being sexually assaulted.
I don't really even know if I told anyone. I don't think I even did, because I felt like it wouldn't have mattered, or no one really would have fucking cared.
And I think especially when it comes to someone who was influential or powerful in the industry, such as Ron Jeremy, and you're a sex worker, people already see you as like less than or not deserving of love or care or whatever. So it's kind of like you're asking for it. That's what they think. So Tana's like, mate, so why am I going to say anything when people are not going to believe me? And again, that's just going to re-traumatize her, because now I'm like a victim, and I'm a victim of,
and people are, I'm a victim, I've come forward and people are trying to discredit me or whatever.
Exactly. So Tana describes herself as a retired adult actress. She says that she knows Ron Jeremy because he raped her in 2015 before she ever even joined the adult industry. She said she knows who he is because he is, quote unquote, the king of all porn, and she meets him through a friend when they're doing like some radio show.
So I just remember Ubering to that house, walked in, Ron Jeremy was sitting already by himself, and then immediately, like, I don't even think I like even talked to him for like 1 or 2 minutes. He's like, stand up, let me see, turn around, like looking at my butt and stuff, and then proceeds to pull down my pants and put his face in my vagina.
She says that he pulls down her pants and puts his face in her vagina. And then
that is so fucking wild.
And the thing is that, like, I think reading it just sounds very ridiculous, yeah? But, like, things happen very, very quickly. Like, if you were to imagine it happening, it's like, you're so spun, like, what the hell? Like, what is even happening here? How do I react? What am I thinking? What's going on? Is this really happening? There's so many thoughts that must be running through your mind that you're like, whoa, what's happening? She's kind of like, no, you know, she's not really on it. And then she says he goes on to, quote unquote, put his penis in her vagina without her consent. And another thing that makes this even more crazy is that she says that her friend is filming it and like encouraging her as if it's like role play, or as if it's like a fun sort of scene or something, and like, oh, you know, go ahead, da, da, da. And she's scared because she's like, okay, there are other people in this house, I don't know who they are, like the person I've come with doesn't seem to realize that like I don't want this to happen. Like she's trying to be playful, like, oh, haha, you know, like let's stop, blah blah blah. And I mean, it's rape basically, and she doesn't think that it is at first, but now to camera she's like, you know, when it happened to me, I didn't really think it was that. But if my future child or someone I knew told me the story, I would say, rah, like, it was rape.
Yeah.
But because it's her, she doesn't think that it is.
This is what a lot of women feel like when they've had, like, some sort of sexual assault or rape or trauma kind of thing. You don't process it at first as what it is. It takes you a while to realise, bro, that's really, really weird behaviour. Like, even when that list came out as well, there's certain things that, like... I hadn't at the time when they happened even thought too much about it, but as I was hearing other women flag these things, I was like, oh right, like no, this is actually like really bad behavior.
This shouldn't have happened. Yeah, that list was a really crazy time because you just started to deep like, rah, like that shouldn't have happened. That's not normal. That wasn't okay. And it's like, I would go as far as saying like almost every guy you know probably has done something inappropriate to women. I would probably phrase it like every woman that you know has had something done or has experienced some level of sexual, definitely harassment at the very least.
I still stand by what I say because I feel like society, like, and I'm not saying that this makes all the men that have ever done, and when I say inappropriate behavior ranges from like
there's a spectrum. It's not always violent
rape. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Because a lot of these things were encouraged in society for a long time.
They were okay.
The climate has only just, I'd say, recently changed. I think most guys you speak to will say to you, like, they've catcalled a girl, or like if they've tried to move to girl and she wasn't really on it, they've kind of been a bit,
or they've like coerced into sex or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, two things can be true. I think both are true.
Yeah, I think both are true, but it doesn't mean all guys are therefore like predators. It just means that some of them have an unlearned behavior, and unfortunately some haven't. And also some have escalated and some have not. So it's crazy. Ginger makes the point that, you know, sex workers are told by society that they deserve less, and she's like, as a sex worker you start to believe it, you know, and that kind of ties in with Tana's story where it's like, oh, it wasn't really rape, like maybe you know, like you start blaming yourself or thinking, okay, let me not exaggerate what happened. Even though like you were violated, and that's not okay. So next we meet this guy, and guys, just sit down. Just what was the point?
Just take a seat, because this guy, I think probably the most trash person we've ever covered on a documentary ever.
Yeah,
I think 100%. Probably the worst.
Because sometimes we've spoken about trash people, but like, I've never seen someone so trash like in an actual documentary.
On my screen.
And do you know what? I think it was good that they put him in, because it shows you how Ron, now you've got me calling him my daddy, how Ron went unchecked for years, and it also just shows you like the mentality a lot of men have, especially in the sex work industry. I think it was actually really good, because if we had only seen like victims and like it was good. It was really good.
I agree. I literally agree. I feel like this guy shows why Ron was able to get away with it for so long, and why men are able to go unchecked. You know, when they're like, oh, you know, we say to guys like, okay, but your friends are weird. Like, do you not see that? This is literally just like case in point. So this guy's name is Jim Powers, and I've put who is trash. And right off the bat, the first thing he does is victim blame.
What people don't realize is Ronnie is actually the most mellow guy in the world. All you gotta do is say, stop it, Ronnie. I've seen it. He will stop instantly. I don't think enough people were saying, stop it, Ronnie.
There are so many things wrong with this statement. People weren't telling him to stop enough. One, like, why should I need to tell you to stop touching me? You should have my consent before you touch me, right? Like, I shouldn't have to tell you to stop. You should have to ask me if you can stop, yeah? Number two, it's like, you've seen it, when people have told him to stop and he stops. So then what you're also saying then, or omitting, is that you've also seen it when people haven't told him to stop and you just done nothing about it. You just felt okay with that. Number three is like, you're victim blaming now, because it's not their fault for not telling him to stop. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
He's trash. He's ridiculous. And it's like the fact that he even said this. Yeah, like you said this out loud to camera. You really stand by this. This is really how you feel.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying to you. Like, this guy is not like an isolated, like...
Yeah, he's not an anomaly.
Yeah, like, if anything, I would say that, like, for the most part, this is how a lot of men think. Like, there's still, like, in fact, I'd say there's still a lot of men out there that think this way, which is why I'm just like, women do not choose to be heterosexual. Like, women who are 100%. Heterosexual cannot choose this, because a lot of men
sexuality is not a choice.
Literally, they do think like this. Even men who have daughters and this and that, all the stuff they say that should make them like whatever, they do think
that should
like
make them
this.
Respect women.
Fam, they think exactly like this. And it's just like, it's wild, because unless, like, even if you're my partner, right, like, there's still a level of consent, okay, that's needed. Like, there's consent in every area, but like, there's a level of consent. You can't just be like to me, okay, like, I'm gonna do this and that to you, kind of thing. But like, more so, like, I don't actually fucking know you. Why would you touch me? And it's entitlement.
Of course, because why did you feel so comfortable doing that? You don't know me.
Literally, this year I remember I went to a party and I got groped, yeah. And like, so when stuff like this happens, when you think about like sexual assault and all this stuff, yeah, groping is like, for me, I've always processed it as one of the lower ends of like the spectrum. Like, I would, not to say that I don't feel like bad for women when it happens to them, or that I don't think it's wrong. It's just I'd always think like, okay, like, there are other things, but until something like that happens to you, you don't process it, because it's not even about the act itself.
It's the violation.
It's the violation. It's like, okay, so I don't actually have agency over my own body.
Exactly.
Like, I cannot just be walking about doing my thing, living my own life without you feeling like you have a right. And that's why they do it, because you're not going to gain any sexual gratification from like groping me, right? Like, it's not going to make you come, but you do it because you want to let me know that if you want me, you can. Kind of thing.
It's so, and this example I'm about to give obviously is not the same level as sexual assault, but it just kind of highlights the whole feeling violated. So the other day, early this week, I was at work, and like right now I have locks in my hair, right? Cool. So I was with this patient, this like old woman, and she kept talking about, oh, my hair, blah blah, and I was like, okay, cool, thanks, I'm trying to get on with the consultation though, so let's like, answer my questions, kind of thing. And then like at one point she like gets up from her chair and comes over to my chair and like grabs one of my locks and was like, oh, and I tell you, I was just like, yeah, can you not? I literally like, because it just felt so like, huh?
Did you switch? Like, were you...
See, work, right? So I literally, and that's another thing as well. It's like, I can't even react the way that I want to react. Similar situation to being groped, that now let me not switch out, because what if this guy gets violent, I was at work and I was like, okay, cool, I'm at work, like code switching. I literally got up and I moved back and I was like, we're not gonna do that. Like, I was like, we're not gonna do that. And she was like, oh, and then she like shuffled along and went and sat back down. And it's like, how can you just stand up mid-sentence and basically lunge at me is what you've done, yeah? That would be very strange if I did that to you. Do you know what I mean? It'd be very strange. And I felt so like, I'm not even trying to be dramatic, but it just felt so, I felt so weird after. I was like, so I'm literally at work doing my job, and you just come. Sorry guys, you're gonna hear drilling noises because my neighbors are doing works, but and it just felt so like raw. So like, you can just come up to me and just touch me anyhow. Like, I cannot. Do you know what I mean? So it's not as maybe violent a situation as like groping or sexual assault, but it's just the same thread running through that. Okay, I feel violated because you did. Yeah, I don't have ownership of myself, of my body. Very, very ridiculous like behavior.
Yeah. It's
and
crazy.
But groping, I think, is just literally, as you said, that it's bad and that it's violating, but there's always the thought, and I'm guilty too of like, oh, rape is like the worst of the worst, like a violent rape is the worst of the worst. When they do those like pyramid things, right? It's like escalating behavior. Rape is right at the top, blah, blah, blah. But there are so many other things that leads to those kind of things. I told you about that time when I went to a party and this boy just like picked me up in the air.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's like, bro, like, don't touch me. Like, do you know what I mean? Even in a relationship, like, remember that episode of My Wife and Kids where Jay was trying to be celibate and stuff, and then Michael implied that like basically he had sex with her like while she was sleeping. Do you remember that episode?
Everyone says this, and I watched the episode, and I don't know if it's the same episode, but is it the one where they get high at the end and then they break it? I think they accidentally get high. Maybe. I didn't remember Michael saying this, but people keep saying
I don't know if he had sex with her, but he basically was like, he'd like, was doing bits while she was sleeping.
He was what?
he was like doing bits. He was like touching her or whatever while he was sleeping. He was made some kind of sexual advance to her while she was sleeping.
I don't remember this, but I know a few people have said it.
I remember that because I remember watching it in my adulthood and thinking, rah, mad. And then I like later on, I remember people tweeting about it. And it's like, I'm not saying that like, oh, the show is terrible, blah, blah, blah. It's one of my favorite shows ever, yeah. But I'm just saying that like, even within a marriage, yeah, bless you, there needs to be a certain level of consent. Whether you're in, or whatever it is. So how much more I'm going to a convention and I'm chilling and this random guy comes up to me and is now doing touchy feely.
Yeah, this is literally, I told you I was watching this show and I really wish I could find the link to it because it would be good to post this. But basically it was a show, like she was a sex therapist and couples were coming in. So this couple came in and they were like hyper religious, like Christian couple, right?
Oh,
and the guy had sex once in his whole life. And he said that he like strayed from whatever, but the girl was like a virgin.
Strayed from the light.
They were just talking about like sex and like they just wanted to have some like preparation for after marriage and da-da-da. And then the girl was like, yeah, like she's quite afraid of having sex because her whole life she's been told it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
And now all of a sudden I'm meant to love it.
She doesn't have any connection with her sexuality or who she is as like a sexual being. And she doesn't know how she feels like she's gonna tense up. So the woman was just telling them that, listen, like you don't have to have sex immediately. Like you can start slow. Like it could be just laying on the couch, like
building the intimacy,
holding hands, like a massage. Let things progress, right? And then the guy was, and then she was like, yeah, like it might take a while. Like she might not want to be like have to
like on the night of the wedding.
And even after you guys start having sex, it might not be all the time because she might not like
want to do it
in the mood or want to. And he was like, oh, but I don't understand. Like she's my wife. Like why would she not want to give me sex? And I was like, yeah, therein lies the crux. And
boy,
this is the issue
and that's
of
on that
culture, and that's on that. Like she's my wife. By virtue, I have ownership of her body.
It's the entitlement thing again. I'm entitled to you sexually whenever, however I please.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wild behavior. So Jim, we're back to Jim. Remember him? Trash guy. Yeah, him. He is a porn director, and in the 1990s, he was Ron Jeremy's cameraman. Jim takes us to this porn set in Porn Valley, which is a place, apparently. He's showing us a house and he's, taking us to all the rooms that he shot scenes in. And then we meet this lady called Jennifer White who knows Ron. She says that he's a perv and he's touchy-feely, but if you say no, he'd stop. She also says, it's just Ron, that's how he is. She ends with saying he should be held accountable for his actions, but
so what
it's kind of like you're saying... Exactly, it's kind of like you're saying like, oh, that's just how he is. Like if you tell him to stop, he'll stop. The point that we're making is that should not be how he is. It shouldn't be a case of we have to tell you how to stop and everything. You should not be that way in the first place, right? So like as a woman, it's like, okay, so what is it that you said then? You said that what he did, that's just how he is and he should be held accountable. So
what is the truth?
Like there's more actors on the set, and one of them, I just put this in here because it was just wild to me. She was talking about being on OnlyFans. I think the porn industry has changed a lot because of OnlyFans. I personally think for the better because women are more in control of their time, their money, their bodies, whatever.
Yeah.
And she says you can make a lot on OnlyFans, about $30,000 to $40,000 dollars a month, and that's dollars. That's like maybe £24,000 to £32,000 a year. I mean, a month, which is wild. I think maybe I should consider a career change. So Ginger used to do porn.
If I'm seriously thinking about selling feet pictures, listen.
But the thing is with the feet pics, but how do you then find somebody that wants to fit? Where do you find those people? Because to take feet pics, how much is a pedicure? £30-40, cool. Investment. And then that's it.
Wait, so like if you have an OnlyFans and it's only feet pics, people will subscribe?
Yeah, people who are on feet pics will subscribe to you to see your feet pics. So you have to find that fan base.
But I guess I don't know how. I've actually never ever been on OnlyFans before. Like,
yeah, I don't think it's just sex work. I think it's kind of like a Patreon thing, but then it's been more used for sex work.
When it first came out, it was like people putting like their exclusive content. It is Patreon, and then it turned into like porn, which is great. It's good. It's a good way to like.
Yeah, I think it's definitely probably reduces the situation.
But like, I don't know how it. I don't even know what the interface looks like. So I don't know what if you search something.
Same. Maybe I need to find out.
But I know a lot of people put their stuff in like Twitter and like their bios and things like that. It's just crazy. Like Twitter itself, like if you go on certain people's Twitter, like I'm just like, why would I pay for your OnlyFans? I see everything here.
But there's probably more exclusive content. Like if that's the content they're giving you on Twitter, just imagine. It's like, why would people subscribe to Pornhub? Just imagine the exclusive content that it's like with any Patreon. Okay, cool. We have a podcast now. Say we start a Patreon. Why would they subscribe to Patreon? We're getting okay, because there's exclusive content.
I guess.
You don't know the things that they be doing.
It's true.
So Ginger used to do porn on sets, but now she does a lot of webcamming. And she says that no one can violate your consent when it's just you and the camera, which is very true. And it's nice to have that option, I guess, for them. Yeah. She briefly tells us about one time on set, she was doing a threesome scene, and she was like, it got progressively rougher and rougher. And then her and the other girl, so it was her, another girl, and a guy. And she was like, they were both choked out until they blacked out. And first of all, that's crazy. If that was what you guys agreed on doing, that's still crazy, because we're dealing with your health. Like, what if you blacked out and then you just never came to? But anyway,
and you die, sorry.
Right, but anyway, it was made worse by the fact that they didn't discuss it beforehand. They didn't know that was going to happen, and of course they're doing the scene, so they're thinking, okay, cool, like this is getting rougher, but they haven't yelled cut. Like, let's just keep going, kind of thing. Next we meet EJ.
The power in the industry is really shifting from studios and producers and directors to the performers themselves.
EJ Dixon is a writer, and she published an article about Ron Jeremy. I actually went to go and read it. It was pretty good. No one cared. Yeah, if you just type in EJ Dixon, Ron Jeremy, it will come up. No one cared because they thought that, because he's a porn star, of course he assaults women, which I think is a negative thing to say, because not all porn stars assault women. Do you know what I mean? Just because you're like a porn star does not a rapist make. Do you know what I mean? Like, just because you are a porn star doesn't mean that you rape women. That's a very dangerous, rhetoric.
I wonder how porn stars feel about sex. Like, is it the same way like chefs enjoy food? So like they cook food and all of that, and like they still enjoy it. Like, if I was having sex as a profession, I just wouldn't want to have it in my personal life. Like, I watched a few documentaries and they say it's different. Like, the feeling is different. But like the actual emotion of something penetrating you, if you're like hetero or whatever, like if I'm speaking about myself, the emotion of something penetrating you, like, it's still the same.
You still get penetrated if you're gay.
Yeah, I'm saying about myself. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's more the mental part of things, right?
Maybe.
Like, you just like fucking for a scene I think it's very technical. Like, I don't think it's like that fun of a time, and it's low-key acting, I feel like, for the most part anyway. But I feel like when you're with your partner or someone that you love, or you actually want to be having sex with, it must be different in the mind. I think it's mentally, because the act is the same. Like, how many ways can you have sex? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it'd be good to know from an actual sex worker. So if anyone who's a sex worker or does porn is listening, then please let us know, because it'd be good to know.
Yeah, let us know. We'll keep you anonymous if you want, but I'd really love to know.
So EJ speaks to about 24 women who had allegations against him. So one is Alexis Miller, who feels really empowered to come forward when Ginger does. And this is a good thing about like coming forward about these things, because then it helps other people who may have experienced the same thing with the same person, or just something like that in general, to feel like they're not alone. It's not their fault. They kind of feel empowered, as Alexis did. She used to consider Ron a good friend, right? So she'd been in porn for 2 months when her agent asks her to do a film with Ron Jeremy, and she says yeah. She's 20, he's 50. Fine. Also, when you do porn, like, I assume you're not able to choose the people that you're shooting with. This is what I'm saying. It must be work, because I don't think, let me speak for myself, I am not physically attracted to Ron Jeremy. There are probably people out there who maybe are, but I'll speak for myself. I am not. And I also don't really understand. I don't understand why anybody would be. But again, speaking for myself, I'm not. So I feel like if I were a porn star or an adult actress, and I had to do a scene with him, it must really just be professionalism that gets you to that place where you are able to shoot with him. Because if not for that environment or that role, that job, that, I don't see that I would be able to have sex with that man.
Yeah.
And
I wonder
Alexis,
if they see each other like out and they're like, oh yeah, I fucked her, or do they just feel like, I don't know. I wonder what.
I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. It's work. That's what I'm saying. I don't think so. It's not like you see your ex at DLT and you're like, oh yeah, we fucked. No, it's not that. Yeah. It's not that. It can't be. That's what I'm saying. I think it literally is two separate minds. Like, I think they're able to compartmentalize, which makes sense. Of course you can. But do you remember that episode we did of escorts ages ago? It's one of our first episodes of those two girls in central London, and one of them, like, I think they both had boyfriends at one point, and they were able to just say like, yeah, like, it's different with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
So
those girls were living the life la vida.
They were living la vida loca. I think of them often.
Oh, do you not know about living the life la vida?
What?
Do you not know about living the life la vida?
No, what's that?
Okay, so
oh god.
One day when we were on holiday, my mom, like, I can't remember what was talking about, like how it's just such a little holiday, yeah. And then she sang, you know, that living la vida loca, but she said living the life la vida.
Living the life la vida.
So now we just say that, like,
okay, me too now.
Yeah,
not living the life la vida.
Like, now I even forgot that till you said it, I was like, oh yeah, it is living the vida loca, but yeah,
not living the life la vida.
Nah, my mom,
your mom is actually
a class clown. I'm telling you.
You people are the same. Anything you say to her, you say about her, you're saying about yourself. So
same vibes. Same vibes,
literally. So yeah, Alexis and Ron, they shoot their scene, there's no issues, and they become friends. So one time she's out with friends and she bumps into Ron, and at this point she hasn't seen him for like 3 years. And she says that he takes her to the kitchen of the bar. So they're at this bar, I think it's called
Rainbow Lounge.
Yeah, Rainbow Lounge, something like that. Yeah, I was even gonna say Paradise.
Very dingy.
Rainbow Lounge, yeah, Rainbow Lounge. Yeah, it does look very, like, it needs a bit of an update. So they're there. He takes her through the kitchen of the bar, and like at the end of the kitchen, you know, like a bar kitchen, like a restaurant kitchen. It's big. There's like a small bathroom there.
Ron took my hand and he put it around his genitals. He then proceeded to pull his pants down and push my head down at the same time, and told me to give it a kiss.
So she freezes and feels like, you know, her not being on it, her kind of hesitating and being a bit like unsure should have indicated that she wasn't interested. So this is the thing with consent as well. Like, you know, the whole like no means no. Yeah. I understand that. But then also it's like yes means yes. So if I've not said yes, if it's not explicit, if you have any doubt, and if I ever have children, if I happen to have sons, daughters, whatever, yeah, like I really want them to understand that, like, if there is any indication or hesitation or anything like that, then it's not worth the nut. It's not, because you don't want someone to not, I'm saying you don't want someone to accuse you, you don't want someone to regret the experience that they had with you anyway. Like, let somebody be sure, you yourself, like, if you have any doubt or something, it's so much easier for someone to say, oh, do you know, we don't have to do this. You then feel safe to be like, oh, okay, great, because I really didn't want to do it in the first place. But if someone is like pressure, and this is not just with sex, it's with anything, if someone is pressuring you in the first place, you kind of feel obliged to go ahead, then you feel coerced to having to go ahead. And it seems like that's what happened with Alexis, bless you, during this encounter. Alexis says, Ron Jeremy, this is quote unquote, by the way, Ron Jeremy used my vagina as a personal masturbation device, which is
fucking crazy.
A wild way to describe it.
I'm surprised he still has juice in those loins. He's like, how old at this point?
Oh my god.
Does he like pop Viagra just on the whim that he's gonna like?
It's the predatory behavior. It gives him the strength of the predator. So, you know, Alexis lies to herself. She kind of says it's not that deep, you know, who's going to believe me, there's no point telling anyone. This is the same thing that Tana said earlier in the documentary. Ron Jeremy admits to being a groper. Like, he says, you know, this is just what he does, and some women consented to it, which is fine, but again, consent, that's what matters here, right? So EJ, the reporter, she discovers that Ron had been called out many, many, many times, and police reports had been filed, but nothing ever really happened. But this article that EJ writes helps to get the media involved, which helps to get the police involved, and so, you know, hey ho, stuff starts to happen. We meet this guy called Moss Criven, who is Ron's assistant between the years 2002 to 2020. That is a very, 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 very long time to be an assistant to somebody. Like, marriages don't even last that long.
Yeah.
That's 18 years.
18 years.
18 years. And on his 18th birthday, she found out it wasn't his. Oh, he found out. Anyway, whatever. So he's very proud to be Ron's best friend. It's like they introduce him as his assistant. He, in his mind, is his best friend. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. He tells Ron,
it's important that we reconsider the things we're proud of. It's not a thing of pride to be best friends and to be fighting to be best friends with a predator, but each their own.
Do you know what? And this is what I was going to say, actually, when we were talking about Jim. I feel like sometimes men have this thing where they love successful men. They have this like reverence and respect and like admiration and obsession with like successful men. And Ron, as disgusting as we're making him out to be, well, as disgusting as he is, I should say, he was very successful in the porn industry. He was that guy. So I feel like people just allow him because he's that guy and they want to be around him. They want to be in his circles and things like that. Moss Criven, the assistant, it just seems very, very happy to be there because he is like in close proximity with someone who is very successful or whatever.
But this is the thing I've said it before and I've tweeted it. A lot of men are in love with other men. So a lot of men 100%.
They're just not sexually
emotionally
attracted
homosexual, but they're just sexually attracted to women, right?
Yes.
So they marry or they cohabitate,
they procreate and build a life with the women
because that's what they're attracted to. They want kids.
That's what they want to have sex with.
Like the emotional love, they're homosexual. Like, they crave it. Like, even look at someone like Kevin Samuels. Like, he gave all the indicators of being high value man, like, you know, wealthy and all of this, and men just wanted to be in his like presence. They wanted to align themselves with him.
They wanted to because be they see him as a successful man.
See him literally. They wanted to be seen by him, kind of thing. And then at the end, like, you find out that he was subletting like an apartment, died alone with not like a pot to piss in or one person as next.
Or a window to throw it out of.
Fam. It's actually wild. I met a lot, and this is the thing, because
it's
you
true.
See on the timeline every time some of these things happen. Like,
I'm trying to be like you, big man,
big bro. Like, fam, like, get a life. Like,
and the thing is, no one is saying that you cannot admire men, you cannot have a mentor, you cannot whatever. That's fine. Like, no one's saying that you can't have that, but it's just a bit more. It's a bit more than that sometimes with these guys. It's like even the way that people will be defending celebrities, Jay-Z this and da da da. I know. It's just, it's very strange. Like, it's just very. It's obsessive. It's giving obsession.
Yeah. Men want nothing more than like a man that's doing well to like be like, I see you,
to be around.
That's what they strive for. Like, that's what they want written on their tombstone. Like, he saw me. That's why people fucking picking dinner with Jay-Z. And then this man will come and tell you he's an alpha male, he wants to lead the family, he's leading you to poverty. They're telling you 50k, you're picking dinner with Jay-Z. Where are we going? So someone said it, like, big broism is killing our people, and it is like, big bro, like, it is. We didn't talk about what the assistant said, because he said a lot of bullshit.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, girl.
No, so basically this assistant is just chatting shit. He's basically like, yeah, like, he saw a lot of women around Ron, and he knows that he took them to the bathroom, and he said, I told Ron, you know, stop touching them. Like, if you stop touching them, nobody will say anything. Or at least, like, don't touch them in places where people are going to see it. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
And you know what as well, yeah? He knows that Ron is guilty as charged, yeah? Because there's one time where he says, like, he keeps having to remind himself to say what he's accused of. Because there's a point where he kind of says, like, it's like he's going to say, oh, basically, he did this. And then he has to remind himself to say what he's accused of.
There's a private bathroom for staff right in the kitchen. It's tiny. It's smaller than a broom closet. It is so small, you can barely fit one person in there. But he's accused of taking women in there and sexually assaulting them.
He's crazy. Like, I mean, a lot of these encounters happened at that bar, that Rainbow Room or whatever it's called, yeah. But then a lot of them also happened in his house.
Okay, so he isn't homeless.
Yeah, no, he's not homeless. Please, that home was used for evil. So next we meet this lady. Her name is Kat Black, and she introduces herself as...
My name is Kat Black, and I make a ton of videos about literally all of the things that I embody as a Black, trans, polyamorous woman who is sex positive and kinky. That's one intro.
So she goes to hug Ron, and he grabs her hand and puts it on his penis, and then tries to insert a finger into her, and then grabs her nipple. It's very strange to me because, again, how is all... It's just so much is going on. So much is going on in public. So much is going on where consent has not been given. Like, it's just crazy. And there are so many stories. This documentary is about half an hour long, yeah? And in that time, we have had countless accounts, whether by tweets or they're here, or we've, like, it's ridiculous.
But, like, it's wild to me because you're just out having dinner, right? With your friends or your boyfriend or whatever. And then, like, someone is sticking someone's hands down their trousers.
It's crazy.
Maybe this rain... You know, there's some, like... I don't want to say seedy,
dodgy
but
places.
There's some dodgy places, you know, that, okay, like, this... It's an unspoken rule that, like, this is where certain people hang out,
this is where
right?
you go for this. This is where you go for that.
Exactly. So maybe, like, that place, like, a lot of, like...
maybe at that time it was, you know...
Yeah. You know how, you know, like, back in the 80s, like, club whatever in New York, like, cokeheads or whatever,
Yeah. So Jim is back. He says he's seen women hit on Ron and pull him to the back to have sex with him. So this is almost like in direct contradiction, or what he's trying to do is contradict Alexis's story. Yeah. Alexis has said, you know, he pulled me to the back and he raped me. And he's saying, yeah, well, loads of women pull him to the back and have sex with him.
But do you follow them in there?
Jim thinks that, you know, these women making allegations, they felt bad about what they did and they wanted a payout. The thing is that, like, this is all very stupid, Jim, because he can be both a rapist and have, like, consensual sexual encounters with women who consent. Like, what are you even saying? Like, two things can be true. Like, he can have raped somebody and also then a woman could have pulled him to the back and wanted to have sex with him. That is even more annoying because it's like, again, there are women who want to have sex with you. Rape is not about, oh, I just wanted to have sex. Rape is about violating and having the power over somebody. So, yeah, cool. Maybe it's true that there were women who used to take him to the back and have sex with him. Cool, that's fine. But there are also women, it seems, that have been reported to not have done that, to have been taken back there and been raped. So what are you talking about? What are you saying? What are you even saying? About? He's so dumb. Like, he's just so dumb. Like, it's just annoying to watch because it's like, I cannot believe that you're so dumb. Like, you've been on the earth for so long and you're still so dumb. How?
And these are
how are you this dumb?
I mean, not this particular man, but there are men his age who are also underdeveloped, leading various countries, and they wonder why the state of the economy is the way it is. Just fucking look at.
Do you know what? Early this morning, I was looking at this tweet, this thread on Twitter, and basically this girl was saying how, like, one of her exes, he thought that all women get their period on the 15th of the month. Like, every single woman on the 15th of the month get their period.
But, like, I just feel like...
And then another woman said that her man thought that... she told her man that you can't have sex more than once in a day if you're on birth control because the pill can only absorb so much cum, and he believed her. So the point that I'm making is that sometimes people are dumb, innit?
No, it's not people, by the way. It's not. Genuinely, women are smarter than men. Like,
no, I think 100% we are smart. And also, I have this theory where I just feel like women are... it's not even necessarily that we develop quicker than men. I think we're just socialized to be more mature than men.
No, I said this many times, like, and I've said this in sense of, like, even, like, this whole debate about, like, who should love each other more, right? And I keep saying to women, you have to be with the man that loves you more. Like, the way we are socialized and raised, we are raised to be all sacrificing. We are raised to put
just like giving of ourselves.
Fam, woe betide you if you are a eldest daughter of an ethnic family, because you know your needs come last in the pecking order.
Did you see that pairing thing of, like, oh, the eldest daughter should be with the youngest son?
I understand why people say that, because
I don't believe in it.
I'm in that pairing now, right? I don't think they said oldest daughter. I think, well, I've
seen... No, it was eldest daughter and youngest son.
Okay, well, I've seen oldest child.
They said it works both ways, but the best way is for the eldest daughter to youngest child situation.
I understand the pairing, though, because I understand why people say it works. Because...
Yeah, but I don't like the reason why it works. Because the reason why it works is relying on the fact that you as an eldest daughter are nurturing and giving and are used to... And then also relying on the fact that the youngest son is the youngest son and hasn't... I think maybe if they're in your situation, there's an age difference. So yes, he's the youngest son, but he's not like a child. Like, if we're the same age and I'm the eldest and you're the youngest, like, I don't know. I'm with someone who's the eldest, and I think it works perfectly because the struggle is real. Like we're both so used to like having to give of ourselves and having to sacrifice, so it's kind of like we both just do it, so then it doesn't feel like only one person is doing it, kind of thing. But yeah, no, I think it's really interesting to me because of course it really depends on the person themselves. Like my sister is the youngest, and she isn't youngest sibling vibes. Do you see what I mean? So
but you're not oldest sibling vibes either, because I think again the difference is the gap. One, I think when they say, well, no, I'm not saying when they say, but when they're two siblings, so there are two of you, right? And you guys are not that far in age.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think it's more so, it's less in terms of like being a parent and more, well, in my situation anyway, more so in terms of the responsibility and what is expected of you in that situation.
Do you feel like you have those expectations of being the oldest?
100%. There's more expected of me in loads of different ways anyway, in terms of yeah. So I just think that I think because I know my, of course it's different in terms of for you because there's like a million years between you guys.
Yeah, is like mothering. Like I'm expected to mother. I'm expected to set like an obscene example, like standard. And I to an extent, like the expectation is there's certain things like with my parents and stuff like that they ask me to do that my siblings will probably never be asked to do because of the age difference. So yeah. But I do think the reason I think the pairing for me works as well is because I'm the oldest, I'm used to being in control. Like that's the aspect I look at it from, for me at least. So like I could not deal with someone who comes from a place where they're also in control and they were fighting for control. I like the fact that because like my partner is the youngest, I think he's used to like, I don't say other people leading, but he's used to like, you know,
he can compromise a bit easier because he's had the elder siblings saying, a lot easier because like in his family I think the control thing is interesting as well because of the age gap that you have with your siblings. So there is that element of control. For me, it's not so much control, like my sister and I are very cool, whatever, but it's more so from the parents aspect of things. You know what I mean? But yeah, ultimately, like I think it's more so about the person that you're with. Yes, I think there are probably more traits that are suited to people who are the eldest, who are the middle, who are the youngest, whatever, but like ultimately I think it really just depends on like you as a person and how that works. Like I've dated guys who've been the youngest or the middle or whatever, and it's been like different each time, do you know?
The only thing I'd say is a massive red flag is an Igbo boy who is the youngest and the only. An Igbo boy actually.
What, did you say the youngest and only? Or the only? Huh? Oh, only boy. The youngest and only boy.
And bro, I would
avoid with my life.
Listen, if he's the eldest or he's the youngest and he's the only boy.
If he's the only boy,
it's 10 times worse. Run. If he's the only boy, like that's a red flag.
No, because like, even if he's the middle, if he's the middle and he's the only boy. If he's the only boy, run for your life.
Middle is a bit better, but if he's first or last, like that is a red flag that's burning because if he's last, then struggled to have him.
And God forbid that the others are married and they're all doing things.
Oh my God, that last, I know that the last Igbo boy, the mum struggled to have him. She said she prayed.
I must have a
boy
when
she got pregnant, endlessly on her knees. Please let this be a boy. And that's her baby. If he's the first, that's the only eye she uses to see this world. He's the one that's going to take her places. He's the one that's going to take care of her. He's the one. Please, sister,
leave him alone. Leave that man alone.
Leave them the fuck alone. Your best bet if you're marrying an Igbo guy is let him have at least 2 or 3 other brothers.
Hella brothers. Yeah.
Hella brothers. Let the mum have options.
Let him be the middle of like 5.
Yeah. Yeah, ideally.
Because she's not pinning her hopes on that one at all.
He's fading into background. Let it be how it is. But yeah, I do think women are, the way we are socialized and everything, even our emotional intelligence, like again, like with emotional intelligence, one thing I've realized, like just since I've been like in a relationship and also speaking to, because I think a lot of times people are not open about like the things that go on in their relationships, right? But when you speak to people who are in relationships, you start to realize like, oh, like I'm not crazy, like this stuff is real, right? And I think generally women operate at a much higher emotional intelligence.
Yeah, for the most part, 100%. Yeah.
And this is why I say, like, women, I mean it for real. Date a man that loves you more, because when you say this, guys say like, oh, what? Nah, you should love each other equally. But the way women are socialized,
it's like I'm gonna love you. I'm going to sacrifice for you. I'm just going to. So let it be worth my while because I'm with someone who is willing to do the same for me.
Okay, but for a man to even match you at your base level of love, he has to love you more. If a man loves you,
and then you're equal. I remember my mum saying this to me.
I try to tell people this. When I say it, people say I'm crazy.
Yeah, because I think they're looking at it like, oh, basically they're seeing it as like, oh, women love your man less kind of thing, and it's not that. No. Because like, you're gonna for the most part, most women, you're love already. You're doing the most. You're having to rein it in. You're having to stop yourself from doing what you really want to do because you look crazy. So be with someone who matches your energy, and it just so happens that it's not.
That energy has to be.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. But we're getting to the end of the documentary now. And, you know, Ginger's kind of saying that she doesn't really think anything's going to happen to Ron from all of these allegations in the documentary and stuff. But Ron actually gets indicted on 33 charges. There are 21 victims aged 15 to 51. I'll go through that again. Aged 15 to 51. And allegations are dating back to the 90s.
So that means some of them were underaged.
You're right. So, paedophilia, perhaps. Ginger tells us that the industry has shifted. You know, women have more power now, and this makes sense. You know, with the advent of OnlyFans and webcamming and all that stuff, which has helped. And I really like that for sex workers. I feel like it's nice that they have autonomy over their body, their time. They can still make money and do the work they want to do without fear of like being violated. So yeah, the documentary ends now with some on-screen text. Ron Jeremy is in prison, awaiting trial for 34 counts of rape and sexual assault. He says he's innocent of all the charges, and the women in this documentary actually don't form part of the criminal case against him. So these are other women that are. Yeah,
that's crazy, because they probably didn't form the case against him because they maybe thought that their accounts weren't strong enough to be prosecuted
or credible because of what they do.
Yeah. So that means that even as heinous. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, heinous, yeah.
Okay, as heinous. I don't know why that sounded... It sounded like anus.
It sounds weird, yeah. Well, it does sound like anus.
As heinous as what they've recounted is, there are probably people who have, like, even crazier stories.
Yeah. So this is more on-screen text. It's literally like a book, guys, so keep up for, like, Audible. We asked Ron Jeremy if he would like to reply to the allegations made in this film. He did not respond. We also asked the Rainbow Bar and Grill, aka the Rainbow Rooms, if they would like to reply to the allegations made in this film, but they did not respond. In relation to the scene in which Ginger Banks says she and another female performer were choked and bitten, didn't know about that, the other female performer, the male performer, and the studio issued a joint statement, which reads, "We recognize that our biggest failure was a lack of detailed conversation before the scene. We all apologize for any bad experiences during and in the wake of this scene and for our failure to recognize where the other side was coming from. Neither side denies the other's experience." So basically, we're sorry if you felt that way. Which is fine. At least they got a response from somebody. That's great. So now it's time for...
The real crime, I think, was the beard.
Our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. Have you got one?
Okay, yeah. So I will be picking Ron Jeremy's moustache. He has a porn stash, which, like, So everything lines up. His whole look matches what we're hearing. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I put Ron. I also put Jim. I think everything about him, his mindset and his thoughts and views and mindset, I think is very criminal and also very dangerous, which could lead to criminal acts. So, yeah, that was mine.
Cool. So we are done, guys. We're done.
Yeah, so that's that episode done. What are we doing next? I always ask the question, then I answer it. Next, I have the schedule. We're doing a credits, right? And we are discussing the Hart family murders. Now, this is a really big case, actually. I didn't really know about it, though, until I watched the season premiere of Atlanta, where I think it's season 3, wherever the most current season is. Their first episode is called 3 Slaps, and it's sort of loosely based on this story, which is a true story. But it just ends in a much better way in Atlanta compared with in real life. So we're just going to have a chat about that.
How does it end in Atlanta? Okay, tell me after.
Yeah, I'll tell you that because, I mean, I guess I kind of spoiled it now, but yeah. We're going to talk about that, basically. So it's going to be a credit. So there's no trailer at the end of this episode. But yeah, next week we'll be talking about that. In the meantime, between time, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, 2 Girls 1 Doc. On TikTok, it's 2girls1doc_. We're actually going to start putting TikToks up right now because like we keep saying it and we just haven't, but we will. And you can also email us 2girls1doc@gmail.com. You can send us reviews, requests, whatever you want really. It's an email, you know, you send what you want. And yeah, that is it really for today.
You're done.
Yeah. Alrighty then.
Bye.